Hey Verld, jag heter Zack the Demon Lord. Hey world, it's Zack the Demon Lord, and yet again another YouTube video. For this video, we'll be doing some more language content. This time we'll be switching tracks from Korean to Swedish. But in this video, it'll actually be sort of a series of videos. So, I thought of an idea a while back, and now I'm finally going to be trying out this idea. Now we'll mention in between making this series, the hair video, just because it's coming out very soon, we'll, budge in between. But whatever the case is, we're gonna go on with this sort of idea and start producing it. So, with this series, what I'll be doing is, I may have mentioned it, but my favorite band is called Vildhjarta, and they're a Swedish band that is basically, they're the pioneers of the subgenre Thal. Very good band, I recommend, but whatever the case is, to serve as a study thing for those interested in learning Swedish and those interested in the band Vildhjarta. We'll be going over all the songs in their album Målstaden under vatten, and going, one by one, any song that has lyrics, and I'll be going over what the Swedish is literally saying, and then I'll translate it kind of into English as we go on. So the first song we'll be going over, which will be the one in this video, we'll do one song per video. The one we'll be going over in this video though is När det du älskar kommer tillbaka från Döda. And I know you can put short clippets of music and stuff in YouTube, so we'll say like, I don't know, 2-3 seconds. Yeah, it's the one that goes like, yeah, it's a pretty good banger. But yeah, let's go over the lyrics. So the first line we have here says, Jag har funnit tröst i det mörker, which literally would be, I have found comfort in the dark. So ja is, or jag, or jag, is I in Swedish. Har is have. Funnit is a past tense form of find, so I have found. Tröst is comfort. You might realize it does sound very familiar to the English word trust. When you have trust in something, you're comfortable with it, right? So comfort. I have found comfort. I is in. Det is a form of figures there would be a split in this video, my camera being my camera. But yeah, as I was saying, we got to Jag har funnit tröst i, and then we're about to talk about det. Det is one of the words for it, but it can also, it has like a dual purpose, actually almost like a three-way purpose. In this case, it's being using as the, as in like the one, that sort of feel, like a that sort of function. And it's applying to dark, which is mörker, so the dark. There is a way in Swedish to apply the directly to the dark, but the word dark, but yeah, in this case they've opted for the that meaning the sort of option. Anyways, going to the, so with that we have, I have found comfort in the dark. Next line we have som fyllt tomrummet sen dagen. So som has some different functions. One of the main functions is the function of kind of like, but in this case they're using it as a that in this case. And then fyllt, which sounds very familiar to the English, filled. Tomrummet is literally the void, or literally void the. So in Swedish, as I've talked about in other videos, they have two like articles, which are en and et. And so if you were to say et tomrum, that would be a void. But to switch that, you just take the et and directly apply it, and like glue it to the end of the word. So tomrumet is literally the void, all in one word. And then sen dagen. So sen is like since, and dagen is going with the same thing, dog, and then the n, so the day. So that filled the void since the day. So that doesn't make sense on its own very well, but it is technically correct, even in English, to say in that grammatical order. But we have to apply it to the first line. So I have found comfort in the dark that filled the void since the day. And then we go to the third line, which says då vi släts från varandra. So då has many meanings. Usually it's like a well then sort of meaning, or then sort of meaning. But in this case it's being used as when. And then vi is the pronoun we. Slets is to be torn, or were torn, sort of, that sort of feeling. It's the past tense of to tear. But in this case, it's like, as said, it's like, it's more the to be, like, torn, like that sort of past tense. If you get, like, it's not like you tear some, it's something tears you. So it's like being directed the opposite direction. And then we got från, which is from again, and then varandra again, which is each other. So when we were torn from each other. So with those, which in English makes sense. So we got, I have found comfort in the dark that filled the void since the day when we were torn from each other. So that together makes quite a bit of sense. And then we go on to the fourth. The fourth line says, O or ok, jag blev lämnad kvar. So O or ok is and, ja again is I, blev is past tense of it's past tense. It's became, which comes from become, which is blir. Sorry for that. And then lämnad is past tense of left. And then we have kvar. Kvar is an interesting word. They translate it as behind, which is a correct way to translate it in this case. But it kind of, it's just a unique word. We don't have this sort of word really in English, I don't think. But it kind of means like, sorry about that again. It kind of means like remaining or still. So like, so it gets translated in this, like the whole sentence gets translated, and I became left behind. But think of behind as like to remain or to still be there. Something left you where you were, sort of vibe. And then we go to the next line, which says med or med, minnen utav det. So med or med is with, minnen is plural of memory, so memories. Utav literally means out of, but in this case is being used as of, and it's literally a contraction of ut and of, out and of. So it's a contraction. And then they is you, but like in the object sort of form. So with memories out of you is the direct, but of you is what it means. So you as an object, the person, presumably of the song that it's about, has memories of you. Then we go to the next line, which says detta måste vara en lugn. So detta means this, but detta is singular. That kind of like with English, this is also singular. The plural form, if it was plural, is dessa. I'm just saying so that way you don't get it confused with it, which would be these. Anyways, detta, this, måste, must, very similar in English. Va is to be. and then en lung. En is a, and lung is lie. So this must be a lie. And then the next line we have skapat ur mitt egna vansinne. So skapat is the past tense of to create. So created. Ur is another out of. And then mitt is another word for my. There's min and mitt. Egna is own. And then vansinne, which is madness. So created out of my own madness. So it makes sense when you apply it with the other line. So this must be a lie created out of my own madness. And then the next line is just a simple command form verb. Förklara, explain, explain it. Like, please explain is essentially what it would mean. And then the next line, I don't know exactly. I'm not the mastermind of Swedish. It's not like I was born in Sweden or anything. But the grammar's a little weird. So translating is also a little weird. But it says Overkommet fyller svunna känslor nu min. And then it also, I'm going to put the next line with it because it doesn't make sense without it. Själ. So literally, applying it, those two lines together, we got unwelcome filling bygone feelings now my soul. Which in English does not make sense at all. But what I take that is like now my soul is filled with unwelcome bygone feelings is at least what I get from it. But you know, other people could get other things from it. But that's what I get from it translation wise. I hope that's pretty correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, any Swedes that may watch this. Anyways, next line we have Era jävlar, jag förkastar er alla. Which means, you bastards, I reject you all. Which makes sense in English. Then we got repeat. The next two lines are the same, you know, verse or whatever. It says, lämna mig I fred. Lämna means leave. Mig is me. And Ifred is alone, so leave me alone. This is a thing though. The grammar is not too different Swedish to English. It's just there's some areas where it's a little tweaked. Anyways, next time we got ensam I detta mörker. So there's some words there that we already know, but alone in this dark, which makes sense with the other line, leave me alone. So leave me alone in this dark. And I will mention that you do use two alones in this case, because Ifred was in the last line, which means alone. In this line they use ensam, which, yeah, so it'd be like leave me alone, alone in this dark. Yeah. Anyways, then we go to the next line. It says svarta silhuetter skvallrar ett hopp. Which, you could probably get some of those words now. Svarta means black. But in plural tense. Silhuetter, silhouettes, so black silhouettes. Skvallrar, gossip. And then we got om. Om has some multiple meanings. In this case, it means about. In some cases, though, it can mean like if, like om du vill, if you want. But in this case, it means about. Because it's being applied and attached to another word, which is ett hope. A hope. Which, full sentence would be black silhouettes gossip about a hope. Which in English doesn't make too much sense. But there are some senses which, in this case, it makes sense where we could say a hope. Usually we just use hope by itself, don't we, in English? Anyways, going to the next line, which will make it make more sense, we got att någonstans därute kan jag bli hel igen. Which is that somewhere out there can I become whole again. So att means that. Någonstans is somewhere. Därute is like out there. Kan jag, I, bli, become hel, whole, igen, again. So together Which in this case, the difference in grammar is that the can and I get switched, because we would say that somewhere out there I can become whole again, but in the Swedish is literally that somewhere out there can I become whole again. Sometimes Swedish does it. I've mentioned, I think, in my video about Swedish, is sometimes there are cases when there's two verbs that sometimes, or in certain cases, like the verb and the pronoun will get switched around in certain cases. So black silhouettes gossip about hope that somewhere out there I can become whole again. So we got there. And then the next line, regnet piskar med sammanbitna ansikte. So regnet, the rain, piskar, whips, mitt sammanbitna ansikte. Mitt, my, we did that. Sammanbitna is plural, clenched. Ansikte, face. The rain whips my clenched face. Which, obviously, if you're in the rain and there's, it's coming down hard, you're gonna clench your face, right? And it's emphasizing that your face is clenched because it's hard and it's hitting your face. So there's a storm presumably outside. And then, när jag beger mig tillbaka, when I return me back, is what it literally is, but it's like when I return back. Beger is we don't really do this in English. It's I believe they're called a reflexive verb. So you have to attach, so whatever the first pronoun you use, in this case it's ja, you have to have a object, you have to have an object pronoun after the verb. So I return me, but it's literally like I return. The same as in English, it's just a little bit different anyways. And then the next line is till den plats där vi fann varandra. So till means to, but more in my understanding like an until or to, toward sort of idea, rather than a normal to. And then den plats. Den is the other it that I talked about. There's det, and now there's den, which applies to plats. So like that place or the place. Dar means there, but in this case it's being used as where. Vi fann varandra. Vi is we, fan is found, and varandra is each other. So to that place where we found each other. When I return back to that place where we found each other. When we connect the lines. And then next line is dit jag måste återvända. Which is to there I must return. Dit is dar, but in a to form. So to there, we don't really do this in English. And then I must return. We would say I must return there in English, but in this case they started with the there, which is correct in Swedish, obviously. And then next line we got den frusna hand som greppar mitt hjärta, which is that frozen hand. So den frusna, frusna's frozen hand. Som, that, greppar, grips, mitt, my hjärta, heart. That frozen hand that grips my heart. And then we get some repeats saying so kall, so kall, so kall, so kall, which is like saying so cold 4 times. And then that ties in with the next line that says so kall är den smärtan. So cold is that the pain. That pain, the pain. So saying that, you know, the pain is so cold. And then we got the last line, which is incidentally also the title of the song. När det du älskar, älskar kommer tillbaka från Döda. So när is when, det is a plural, sort of the or that in this case. Du is you, but in the singular. Älskar means to love. Kommer, to come. Tillbaka, back or backwards. Från, from. The plural, the or that again. And döda, dead, as a noun. So when the one you love comes back from the dead is what we end with. And that's all the lyrics. Yeah, I hope you liked this video. I know it's probably an interesting one. Not a lot of people translate the lyrics of songs, but I decided, why not? There's not a lot of content like this about Swedish songs, especially for Vildhjarta. But yeah, if you like to give it a like, share with friends and families that might like it, and subscribe, hit the bell, do all the cool stuff. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, hey-do.